Hello, welcome to everybody. I thought that we would start off the brave new world of home learning with a little bit of information for parents. I've spoken to lots of people who have very mixed feelings about this, and I know that there is some anxiety amongst parents out there, to put it mildly, about what this is going to look like and what expectations we have of you. So I thought that we would start off with a video over the weekend for you to be able to watch before Monday and hopefully put your mind at rest, give you a few tips and get you started. So most of you hopefully know my name is Gemma Donnelly. I'm head teacher at Brawick Court School. For those of you who are part of our school community who we're making this video for, you should know me already and hopefully have a bit of faith that I know what I'm talking about. There's a possibility that some of you might share this with a friend, so I thought I would just give you a little bit of information about myself so that you would understand that hopefully it's probably worth listening to some of the things that I've got to say in a very uncertain time where nobody really knows exactly what the right thing to do is. I'm not an expert on home learning because nobody is yet, but we're going to learn together. So I've been head teacher of my very lovely, brilliant, outstanding school for 6 years since before we opened. I've been a teacher for 20 years. I've got 2 children of my own. They are 14 and 11. I was a registered childminder because I did some work at home while the children were little. I'm a qualified special needs coordinator. I have worked with children my whole life in pretty much every capacity. I have run holiday clubs. I run rainbows. I've been heavily involved in guiding and scouting my whole life. Anything else? Most of my friends have got children. I pretty much see children in every capacity. So as I said, I'm not claiming to be the expert, but I'm hoping that I might have one or two ideas that I've pulled together from lots of different places that might be helpful to you to start you off on this journey as we learn together about what home learning looks like. Okay, let's go. The first thing I would like to say is a really massive thank you to every part of our school community. The last week has been the most challenging in education. I'm lucky enough to be very well connected to all of the head teachers in the local authority, all of the head teachers of Bellevue Place Education Trust, and obviously the wider community in terms of social media, which is very, very strong in education and never more so than now. And never have we faced such a challenge. People have been asked to do things on an incredibly tight timescale at exceptionally short notice, and everybody has done an amazing job of pulling that together under very difficult conditions. And I'd like to thank all of the staff for everything that they have done, and all of the parents for the support that you've given us so far and what you are about to do and embark on in terms of supporting your children from home. I've spoken to some people who are nervous about this, and rightly so. You are not teachers. We appreciate that you are not teachers. We are not asking you to be. We are here to support you every step of the way, and I absolutely promise you that we will work this through together. We know that you are feeling an enormous amount of pressure. We will do everything we can to make this as easy for you as we possibly can. To begin with, all we are going to ask you to do is to consolidate previous learning. We're not going to try and teach the children anything new, because that would be far too much to ask of you and far too much to ask of the children. So at least until Easter, all of the things that the children will be doing, they have seen before, okay? So you are not trying to teach it for the first time, and you cannot get this wrong. Whatever you do and however you help them will be better than not doing anything at all. So give it a go and see how you get on. Don't be afraid. Just give it a go and try, okay? I'm sure the children will be absolutely fine. They have got loads that they can teach you. The teachers are doing an amazing job of getting all of their home learning ready. So for Braywick Court School, on our YouTube video, come Monday morning at 9:30, there will be lessons up there for maths and for English for every year group, reception 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Apologies if you're watching this and you're not part of Braywick Court School and have children in year 6. We don't have a year 6 yet, so we're not going to be able to help you, but reception to year 5, we're all good to go. We're going to try to upload the files that go with the YouTube clips into our YouTube into our YouTube channel, so that you can click on there and download the activities if you can't get them from another place. We will be emailing those to you every day. Okay, I want to show you this. Let's get this in perspective. This is from Google. It's not necessarily the most accurate, but you do need to remember this. You are already the most important people in your child's lives. Your teachers and the people at school are a very important part of their lives and will continue to be. But in actual fact, what they are missing by not coming to school is only a very tiny portion of what normally happens. We know that your children are absolutely incredible because we spend every single day with them. They're funny, they're articulate, they're intelligent, they're able to work independently, they're able to behave absolutely beautifully, and they are a credit to you. They're also a credit to us, but most of that is coming from you and what you have taught them at home. You already have by far and away the biggest influence on your child's lives, and that is going to continue. Okay, this is a really hard time for everybody. Everybody is a little bit nervous about this in the entire country. If you've got children and are watching this on top of all of the other things that the world is trying to contend with, you now have your children at home trying to do their learning. It's going to create some panic for people. The idea of this video is to try to help you to get things into perspective and to calm things down. Do have a look at this. There are things out there that you can't influence or have any control over. Try your best not to worry about them. I'm going to work with you with the bits in the centre of the circle, because these are the bits that we can do and pull together and make this really effective. Okay. Here we go. If you are doing some home learning with your children, buckle in. This is what you need to know to make it work. Number 1, have a bit of structure to your day. It's going to be hard if it feels like the holidays. We have explained to the children already that this isn't the holidays. This structure will look different in everybody's households because people have a variety of things that they are trying to do in addition to educating the children. You've got people that you need to look after, you've got jobs that you need to do, you've got a house that you need to run. We are not expecting you to educate your child for 6 hours a day because that would be nuts. However, we are suggesting that for the sake of everybody, they would benefit from having some routine. This has only occurred to me since we closed school. You need to think really carefully about the space that you've got in your house and where everybody is going to be. If possible, you need to split people up as much as you can. And for the sake of the children, they really need, when they're doing their work, to be in a quiet place. And more than anything, even if you can't give them a quiet place away from the other people in the home, they really need to be able to sit at a table with a chair, because it looks as though we're in this for a really long time. And apart from the fact it'll give them terrible handwriting if they don't do that, then actually it's also going to be really bad for their posture. So be a bit innovative about the way that you use your space at home and do what you can to set them up with a workstation. Braywick Court families, we have a school full of furniture, most of which isn't going to be used, and in some capacity our building is open. If you would like to borrow a chair and a table, please email the office and we will sort that out for you. Think really carefully about how much your child can manage in one go, and you might be surprised to find, or disappointed to find, it's a very small amount. If your child is 5, they can probably manage to concentrate on one thing for between 5 and 10 minutes. If your child is 10, they might be able to concentrate on the same thing for 20 minutes, in some cases 30 minutes, no longer than that. So if you imagine a lesson at school, they might sit on the carpet for between 5 and 20 minutes, depending on the age of the children, or be sitting at their desk listening to the adult at the front. After that time, we would move them around and they would do something else. Within that time, they would have had time to talk to the person next to them, time to think about an answer. They might have had something in their hands to manipulate and work with. They might have had a whiteboard to write on. When that activity has finished, they move away, get up, move away, go back to their table, have a chat with their friends on the way, do something else, a bit of writing, a bit of something physical to work with. Then they'd stop that after 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'd change it for something different again. So don't have the expectations on them too high at home of how much they're going to be able to manage in one go. Remember as well that when we've got them in class, there are 30 of them, and sometimes 1, sometimes 2 or 3 of us. It takes time to get round everybody. So what would take a long time in class might not take a long time at home when they're one-to-one. So we're looking at short, sharp bursts, okay, of time. This is something that's occurred to me over the weekend because I know that I have been guilty already of doing this myself. Already things are kicking off on social media because people know they need that contact with each other. I've got messages flying in on my phone from all sorts of different people, from different apps and platforms constantly. And this morning I was trying to teach my daughter, to cook eggy bread, and I kept getting distracted because my phone kept pinging and I kept stopping what I was doing to look at that, and she was getting really frustrated with me. And I thought, there's a really good lesson here that we need to learn. If your child can only concentrate for between 10 and 20 minutes at a time, try to give them short, concentrated periods of time where you are only going to focus on what they are doing. It's going to be so important to them. If you possibly can, leave your phone and your laptop and your iPad in a different room. And if you give them that one-to-one attention, you will set them up for being able to concentrate for longer the other side of that. We know that your children can work independently because they do it at school every day. When they're sent back to their table to do their work, there will be 30 of them in a room and a maximum of 3 adults. They have to wait their turn. They won't want to wait their turn at home with you. They will expect you to be there for them all the time. Be really clear with them about what the parameters around that are going to look like. Once you've given them your undivided attention for a short period of time, tell them that they are expected to work by themselves. I'll be telling them that on their assemblies as well, and I promise you they can do it. Be strong. Don't give in every time they tell you that they want you to come and help them. Ask them to go off and find a different way of doing it first. I forgot to get my slide up for this, so I'm going to see if I can remember. At school, we do board, brain, book, buddy, boss. They have 5 people, 5 things that they need to do to ask for help. Board. This is going to be the same at home as it has been at school. They will have some sort of clip or worksheet or something that they can look at. So, board, brain, have a think. They probably know this by themselves. What's the answer? What are they supposed to be doing? See if they can work it out for themselves. Board, brain, book. There's probably some information that they can reference. Have they got a worksheet that they can look at? Have they got something that they can re-watch to find out about? Buddy, well, if they've got a brother or sister at home, it'd be worth asking them before they bother mum and dad. Okay, boss, that would normally be us. Now it's you. Okay, but you are number 5 on that list. Be strong. They don't need you as much as they're going to tell you they do. This is going to be the most important one. We are committed to educating your children, and we will do everything we can to make that work. However, as everybody keeps saying, these are unprecedented times. This is a new situation. We've never been in this before. There are going to be things happening that are scary. We need to think first about looking after them as people before we worry about whether or not they've got every question right on the maths worksheet they were set that day. Do what you need to do to make this right for your child and your family in the circumstances you find yourselves in at the time. And within their day, do not kill yourselves over their maths and literacy activities when there are so many other things that are important. Mr. Bavington is going to upload a fitness video every day. I've seen some of them already. They are amazing. If you are wondering what to do and you don't know, you haven't got time to do it all, my advice would be do his first. The children need a range of activities, and that is going to be one of the things that keeps them sane during this period of time. They need loads and loads of physical activity, which I think brings me on to the next one. Okay, we've talked to the children about this at school already. Their day is going to look quite different to what it looks like already, but they are used to at least one break time in every day and one lunch time where they get outside in the fresh air, they run around and they spend time with their friends. A similar thing needs to happen at home in the best way that you possibly can. Their first go-to when you tell them it's time to stop studying is going to be to put the telly on, to turn the iPad on, to put the PlayStation on. They are going to do a lot of that in their day. Don't feel bad about that. They are going to have to, because there are going to be long periods of time where they've done their work and you need to get on with things. At that point, plug them in. Plug them in for as long as you need to, by all means. But understand that when you're giving them a break from their work and you want them to come back and do some more work afterwards, what they really need to have done is run off some energy. They need to move their bodies, they need to get some fresh air, they need to jump up and down, they need to shout, they need to do all of those things, and you're going to need to give them the opportunity to do that. Sorry if it's really annoying. Okay, differentiation. So this is to do with different levels of work. If we had your children in school, your teachers would provide activities that were probably differentiated in about 6 different ways for each lesson. We just haven't been able to do that for their home learning. We had days to turn this around. There might be more of it to come. We'll have to see what happens. For now, we're setting one activity for each lesson for each class. You will have a rough idea of where your child sits in terms of ability in that class. Keep that in mind while they're doing their work. Some of them are going to find the work really hard. They shouldn't complete as much as everybody else. Don't expect them to finish it. It's just going to be too hard. If you have an average ability child, they would do the majority of it. That's fine. If you have a child who would be constantly challenged and given more at school, bear that in mind. For them, the first activity that's set might be a springboard off to something else, and then we're going to need to think about more ideas for challenge and independent study following those to keep them going. There are lots of activities that have been sent home, ideas of things that they can do, websites that you can access. But have a think about it. Don't worry if the way that your child completes the activity looks a little bit different to the original plan. Ask for help. Really important. We are there. We've set up the email addresses. You can email your class teacher and somebody, well, you can email your class and somebody will get back to you. If you're not sure, ask us and we will help you. And if for whatever reason you don't want to ask us, ask somebody else. Don't sit and fret about it by yourself. There are some good things that will come out of this. On the horizon, we have got families forced to spend quality time together in a way that over the years our society has missed. Don't underestimate what this can do. There is going to be a huge amount of pressure on people in a confined space with a small number of people who are probably the people who wind each other up the most in life. We all know that. However, the way that we're going to have to get through this is by finding lots and lots of things to do and a variety of activities. All the sorts of things that we just don't do enough of, we're going to have to get good at. We're going to be playing more board games, playing more card games, going for walks, looking for rainbows, all of these things. Also, your child and you are going to learn an awful lot. You're going to see all of their teachers and how fantastic they are because you're going to be in their lessons every day. Your child is going to learn great skills about working independently because we will support you to make sure that they can do that. And you're all going to learn loads about technology. We've got loads of information coming around the corner about different platforms, ways that we can engage, ways that we can learn. So there are some good things that are going to happen as well as some challenges. Been having a little think about this. You're probably the same as me as I was referencing earlier. Think about all the ways that you are already engaging with people differently to how you might have been this time last weekend. Your children are going to need that as well. We need to be really careful about online safety because children unattended on devices can lead to difficulties. However, there are lots of ways that the children can interact with each other, and don't underestimate the importance of that. During their day at school, children spend all day engaging with each other in one form or another. They chat to their friends on the playground, they play games together. In the classrooms, they have talk partners, they work with the person next to them, they talk to their teachers. They're going to be missing that. I'd really recommend that you have a think about ways that you can start to build that in for your child. If there are ways that they can be contacting their classmates, I'd really recommend that you do that. And keep in mind that that's going to be very different for children than it is for adults. So when I FaceTime my grandma, we just sit and talk to each other. Children aren't going to do that because they don't really do that in the same way anyway. If you put a camera in front of a child and tell them to talk to the person on the other side, they'll say, hello, hello, ha, 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 and that will be it. We've got to think a bit more innovatively than that. So what would they have done if their friend came to play? If they'd have played Barbies, or it's a bit easier for girls maybe, we'll have to think about some boy options. So video games obviously helpful because they can use that platform and they can speak to each other. But let's go back to the Barbie example. If they would have played Barbies, maybe their friend can get their Barbies out their side and they can have a similar game to what they would have done at home if they were sitting in the same room. I just think we might need to think a bit more widely about that because it's going to be really important for the children to keep that up and running. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit bossy now. We're coming to the end. This is the last slide. I'm just going to put this out there. You may choose not to listen, but I'm going to give it a go. Schools are a frontline service, and because of that, safeguarding is absolutely our top priority at all times. Most of this will happen behind the scenes and you won't actually be aware of it. At this moment in time, I think it's really important that you do understand what we do every day to keep your children safe. I know, and the staff know, and we are aware of the children who come to school hungry, whose parents are having a difficult time because there's financial issues in their family, or where there are mental health difficulties, or where there are parents struggling with behaviour at home, or the children or somebody else in their family is really struggling with anxiety. And we support those families with those things every single day. We need to be able to carry on doing that, but we can't see you. So we need you to help us. We need you to be honest and to tell us if there is a problem in your family and there is something that you require some support on. Because even if we can't help you ourselves, we will be able to find somebody who can. The early help services and all of the other organisations who we would normally engage with are still working. And not only do we need you to tell us that about yourselves, but we need you to tell us that about each other. If you are hopefully supporting each other during this time and you find out that there's somebody having a tough time in one form or another, please tell the school. It's not to get anybody in trouble, it's so that we can put the support in place to do what we can to help those families. That's going to be very different over this time period. There are going to be people out of work. There are going to be people who might be struggling to provide for the children where normally they would have been. There are going to be difficulties and strains on people that are new. We are still your frontline service. Come and talk to us, please. Be kind. We talk to the children about that. It's going to be important for all of us. The country is under more pressure now than it ever has been. And each individual person locked in their house with their closest family members have got a huge amount of pressure on them in a lot of different ways. Think carefully about your reactions and how they impact on other people. Your child is going to annoy you lots and lots of times. It's not their fault. Try really hard to take a deep breath and walk away from them. They are looking to you for guidance and to understand how to navigate this difficult time. Really try hard not to take it out on your children. And by the same token, there are going to be times where your child is trying to do some work and you are absolutely tearing your hair out. The technology doesn't work, you don't understand it, the child says it's supposed to be one thing, you think it's supposed to be another thing, you've had a response from the teacher that you didn't understand or you didn't like. Breathe. Think before you do anything. It is going to be very easy during isolation to sit at home by yourself and type out and send an angry email. Think about what that's going to do to the teacher at the other end of that email that is under the same level of pressure, if not more, than you are. I think that potentially, because of the pressure people are under, we might have some angry emails to come. Please don't send them. We are absolutely here to help you, but it is not going to be constructive to start shouting at people. Just let us know very succinctly that you are having a difficulty and we will do our best to help. I can't take credit for this, so I'm going to have to read it to you. It's related to the previous point. We need to hold the other end of each other's ropes, to hang on tightly while we thrash at the other end of that rope, while we find the handholds and footholds in this new world. Please hang on to the other end of the rope and know that you are doing the most important job anyone could possibly be doing right now. I'm more than willing to make as many of these videos as you would like. I'm writing one about behaviour at home. If there's anything else that you would like me to help you with, send an email into the office or to your class teacher. That will get to me and I will do everything I can to help you. We are absolutely in this together. And lastly, no drinking wine before dinner time. I hope that's been helpful. Good luck. I'll see you soon.